It was night in Jerusalem. The air was heavy. The city was quiet, but something dark was about to happen. Jesus had just prayed in the garden called Gethsemane. His friends, the disciples, were with him, but they were tired and fell asleep. Jesus prayed with tears. He asked God, "If it is possible, take this cup of suffering away from me, but let your will be done, not mine." He knew what was coming. Soldiers were already on their way. A friend would soon betray him. The betrayer was Judas, one of his own 12 disciples. Judas had sold him for 30 silver coins. Judas led the soldiers to the garden. He gave them a sign. "The one I kiss is the man. Arrest him." Judas walked up to Jesus, looked him in the eyes, and kissed him on the cheek. Jesus said, "Judas, do you betray the Son of Man with a kiss?" At once the soldiers grabbed Jesus. They tied his hands with ropes. The disciples were shocked. They did not know what to do. Peter pulled out a sword. He struck the servant of the high priest and cut off his ear. But Jesus said, "Stop! No more of this." He touched the man's ear and healed him instantly. Then Jesus told Peter, "Put your sword back. All who use the sword will die by the sword." Jesus said to the soldiers, "Do you come with swords and clubs as if I were a criminal? Every day I was with you in the temple, but you did not arrest me. This is your hour, the hour of darkness." The disciples ran away in fear. Jesus was left alone with his captors. The soldiers dragged Jesus back through the dark streets of Jerusalem. The trial was about to begin. The night of betrayal had only begun. Soon the world would see God placed on trial by men. They dragged Jesus through the dark streets. His hands were tied. The crowd whispered as torches lit the night. They took him to the house of the high priest. Inside, the leaders were waiting. The priests looked at him with hate. They wanted him gone. They called false witnesses. People lied about him. They said he spoke against the temple. But their lies did not agree. The stories were broken. The high priest stood and shouted, "Are you the Son of God?" Jesus said, "Yes, and you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of God." The priest tore his clothes. He cried, "Blasphemy! He must die!" Guards hit Jesus. They spit on him. They covered his eyes and mocked him. Outside, Peter was waiting in the courtyard. He warmed his hands at a fire. A servant girl said, "You were with Jesus." Peter shook his head. "I don't know him." Another man said, "You are one of his followers." Peter said louder, "I don't know the man." A woman spoke again, "Surely you are with him. Your voice gives you away." Peter cursed and shouted, "I do not know him." Jesus turned and looked at Peter. Peter's heart broke. He ran away and wept bitterly. Morning came. They dragged Jesus to Pilate, the Roman governor. The priest shouted, "He must die! He calls himself a king!" Pilate looked at Jesus. "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus said, "My kingdom is not of this world." Pilate saw no guilt, but the crowd screamed louder. They cried, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" Pilate washed his hands. He said, "I am innocent of this man's blood." Then he gave Jesus to the soldiers to be crucified. The soldiers placed a crown made of sharp thorns on Jesus' head. Blood ran down his face. They gave him a purple robe and mocked him. They bowed and laughed, "Hail, King of the Jews!" Then they tore the robe away. They placed a heavy wooden cross on his back. He stumbled as he walked through the crowded streets. Women cried and reached out for him. Jesus turned and said, "Do not weep for me, weep for yourselves and your children." The soldiers forced a man named Simon of Cyrene to carry the cross for him. They reached a hill called Golgotha, the place of the skull. They nailed his hands to the cross. They nailed his feet too. They lifted the cross high for all to see. 2 criminals were crucified beside him, one on his left and one on his right. The crowd mocked him. They shouted, "If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross." The priests sneered. He saved others, but he cannot save himself. One criminal cursed him, but the other said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." Jesus said to him, "Today you will be with me in paradise." Jesus looked at his mother Mary, who stood weeping below the cross. He said, "Woman, here is your son." And to his disciple John, "Here is your mother." Darkness covered the whole land from noon until 3 in the afternoon. Jesus cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" He said, "I thirst." Jesus cried out, "It is finished." Then he said, "Father, into your hands I give my spirit." Jesus breathed his last breath. At that moment, the earth shook. Rocks split. Graves opened. The curtain in the temple tore in two from top to bottom. The Roman centurion saw it all. He said, "Surely this was the Son of God."